The Anaheim Ducks are once again stuck in sub-mediocrity, with a 24-24-6 record after the Four Nations face-off. It's better than it's been in the past couple of years, when the Ducks were competing for the first overall pick. But there is little reason to believe that they won't stand pat at the deadline, if not sell off some pieces. Fans are looking for any source of optimism for the first time since 2018 when they last made the playoffs. So they're looking for the prospect pool for that. Guys like Mason McTavish, Cutter Gauthier, and Beckett Sedecki have been the crown jewels of this prospect pool. But there's one man that's making an unexpected rise, and his name is Sasha Pastujov. Sasha Pastujov is a skater from Bradenton, Florida, born in 2003. And his unconventional game and unconventional rise could be a gem story for the Anaheim Ducks. I'm Owen Hillman, and you're watching Tackles and Checks.
Pastujov was born on July 15, 2003, in Bradenton, Florida. Pastujov is a high-scoring left winger with great moves with the puck. He has shown this ever since he was 13, scoring 64 points in 44 games from ages 13 to 16. His scoring prowess earned him a spot in the USA U17, U18, and U20 teams. He played alongside NHLers like Lane Hudson, Luke Hughes, and Logan Cooley. Despite all the star power surrounding Pastujov, he was the leading scorer in his USA U17 and U18 team. On the U18 team, he had a 30-30 season in just 41 games, totaling 68 points. When he joined the OHL, he continued showing his scoring prowess. In 3 years of the Sarnia Sting and the Guelph Storm, he scored 174 points in 125 games. His 98 points in his last year in the OHL ranked 4th in the league at that point. Pastujov built quite the hockey resume for himself. He was considered by all the media experts as a top 20 to 40 skater in the 2021 draft class. There were many media outlets picking him in the late first round of the mock draft, going to teams like Colorado, Minnesota, Nashville, or Montreal.
So did any team take their shot on Sasha Pastujov in the first round? Nope. What about the second? Couldn't find him either.
Surprisingly, it took 3 rounds for Sasha Pastujov's name to be heard. He was taken 66th overall. Almost every team passed on him twice, until the Anaheim Ducks selected him.
There were some legitimate reasons why he fell down so far. NHL scouts had some gripes about his game. It wasn't his offensive instincts or his shot, it was his skating. A lot of scouts believed that his skating would not be NHL caliber anytime soon. He also was not great in defense. He was pretty bad at playing at the zone end, which is evident by his negative to even plus-minus ratio, despite the amount of goals he puts up.
Despite this, Bob Murray and the Anaheim Ducks took a chance on him. Bob Murray was the longtime GM of the Anaheim Ducks. He had the position from 2008 to 2021. Murray was one of the best drafting GMs in the league during his tenure, always known for getting more with less. In his first 10 years with the Ducks, he only drafted in the top 10 twice, and yet somehow he was able to find an insane amount of talent anyway. Kyle Palmieri, Sami Vatanen, Cam Fowler, Ricard Raquel, John Gibson, William Karlsson, Josh Manson, Freddie Anderson, Shea Theodore, Marcus Pettersson, Brandon Montour, Andre Kasha, Troy Terry, Sam Steele, and Lucas Dostal. All in a 10-year span outside of the top 10 picks. He found all of those players. Bob Murray's biggest flaw as a GM was in hiring head coaches and developing players. He had already inherited Randy Carlyle, but Randy Carlyle was fired after a disastrous 2011 to 2012 season. So he rolled the dice on Bruce Boudreau. Bruce Boudreau is a talented coach, no doubt, but he was an absolute choker in the postseason. It happened 4 times in a row where the Ducks had a 3-2 series lead, only to lose that series at home in painful fashion. After the fourth straight year that happened, a series loss against Nashville in the first round of the 2015-16 season, Boudreau was fired. So, who do the Ducks go with? Randy Carlyle. After a disastrous season with the Maple Leafs, everybody thought that Randy Carlyle was over the hill, but the Ducks gave him a second chance. And while Carlyle did lead them to the Western Conference Finals in his first season, his next two seasons would be disastrous for the squad. Now, 2017-18, Carlyle did make the playoffs, but they were absolutely destroyed by San Jose, and there were some massive flaws in their game plan, which all showed in 2018-19. Everybody fell off a cliff, and this was the beginning of the dark period for the Anaheim Ducks. Carlyle was fired in the middle of the 2018-19 season, and hilariously enough, Bob Murray would take over as the head coach for that squad. Bob Murray also lacked in player development. You can argue that he rarely got the most out of his guys. In that 10-year span that I mentioned, only 5 of those players were on the team for more than 5 years. And if you were to put in those top 10 picks as well, that only makes 7 of them. Shea Theodore and William Karlsson, 2 Anaheim Ducks players, were selected by Vegas in the expansion draft and became key contributors to their 2022 Stanley Cup run. Speaking of Stanley Cups, Brandon Montour and Josh Manson both won Stanley Cups with different squads. Freddie Anderson, a guy who was usurped by John Gibson, became a quality backstop for the Toronto Maple Leafs and Carolina Hurricanes. Unfortunately, Bob Murray would strike out in his last coaching hire. After Randy Carlyle's disastrous tenure, the Ducks went for Dallas Eakins in the 2019 offseason. Dallas Eakins was just coming off of a disastrous tenure with the Oilers, much worse than Carlyle's Leafs. The team was so bad under his watch that the Oilers ended up getting Connor McDavid with the first overall pick. It was rough sledding. And in Anaheim, it played out exactly the same way. 6th in the Pacific, 8th in the West, 7th in the Pacific, 8th in the Pacific. 4 straight losing seasons. Dallas Eakins was finally gone after 2022-23. Bob Murray resigned from the organization in 2021 after workplace misconduct allegations. However, he was still able to draft in that year, and his last draft could have helped swing the Ducks' window wide open again. With the 3rd pick, he took Mason McTavish, who could be a game changer for the organization. Oren Zellweger, while undersized, can turn into a great offensive defenseman.
And then there's Sasha Pastujov. Despite being considered as a first or second round talent, the Ducks were somehow able to get him in the 3rd round, and he has rewarded them for it. Despite a struggling season in his first year in the AHL, his second season has gotten much better. This year, he has 34 points in 35 games, which is around a point per game level. He almost leads his team in points. Pastujov could very well be getting his first start, with the Ducks looking to sell at the deadline. And that could be the start of a legendary career and a great draft find for the Ducks.